Right now, on To the Point.
It's Armageddon. I'm driving through a war zone right now.
Thousands of structures decimated.
Having a family is the most important thing.
Lives lost.
I don't even want to think of what, God forbid, might be.
Tonight, as fast-moving winds fuel more flames across Los Angeles.
This is not a normal red flag alert.
It's astounding what's happened.
Where local firefighters are heading to the front lines to help. And experts weigh in.
These insurance people decided to cancel their fire. And we're going through this, and they have no fire insurance.
What's next for our home insurance crisis, now dealt another blow? Good evening. This is To the Point. I'm Becca Hobbiger. We continue to follow the fires in Los Angeles. Tonight, more than 50,000 people are under mandatory evacuation orders. At least 5 people have been killed. Homes and businesses are gone. Tonight, President Biden signed an emergency declaration freeing up federal assistance to help in the response. And breaking news just into the newsroom. This is a live look tonight at the Sunset Fire. It's the latest to ignite. It's burning just north of Hollywood Boulevard in the Hollywood Hills area. Some know this area as Runyon Canyon. Mandatory evacuations are underway in the area. And the LA Unified School District also just announced all schools in the district will be closed tomorrow as these fires continue. And here are the other fires burning in Los Angeles tonight. The Palisades Fire, the largest, just north of Santa Monica. The second largest is the Eaton Fire, burning in Altadena. The Hearst Fire continues to burn in North Los Angeles County in Sylmar. And officials are also monitoring the Woodley Fire and Lydia fires you see on the map here. Hurricane-force winds are fueling the fast-moving flames. Less than an hour ago, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass gave an update on the firefight. Here's what she had to say.
I am making sure that we leave no resource untapped. Firefighters are now on scene from across the state and across the country. I spoke with President Biden today and Governor Newsom earlier today, and they assured me of full federal and state support. As we head into tonight, we are still facing strong and erratic winds. In Palisades and in Sylmar, we are very much in an active firefight.
Across Los Angeles, apocalyptic scenes like these are playing out as people evacuating left their cars abandoned. Firefighters had to use bulldozers to get the trucks through. And overnight, the Eaton Fire reached an assisted living center in Altadena. Workers rushed to get people out of the building using wheelchairs and rolling beds.
I was running up to the third story, second story, carrying people down, just picking them up.
Workers were able to evacuate all of the residents safely before the center went up in flames. And tonight, local crews are helping in the firefight. Firefighters from Sacramento Fire Department, Metro Fire, and the Cosumnes Fire Department left to the Palisades Fire this morning. A second team with more crews from Manteca, Ione, and San Joaquin County left this afternoon. They plan to be in LA for the next 2 weeks. Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods is tracking the conditions tonight. Monica.
Well, we still have that red flag warning in effect through Friday. The particularly dangerous situation due to winds at about 80 to 100 miles per hour now expired. So winds are starting to back off, but still at that critical level. Now, in terms of where we're seeing the sustained winds, they're still close to about 40 miles per hour. That does not account for the gusts. These are offshore winds, very dry and warming winds. Along with that, we have air quality issues around the fire perimeter and also pressing off to the west. Now, what's going to happen overnight tonight is those winds are going to start to settle into the lower elevations along with that smoke. And so this fire behavior will shift along with the smoke that'll persist into some of the valley locations. Very hazy and difficult firefighting conditions. We've got our high pressure ridge still in control of our weather. That sinking warming air, that in opposition to that low, is what's been creating those strong offshore winds. This is starting to relax ever so slightly, but we still have to consider some light northwest winds, very low humidity. Our hourly weather for our local conditions, you can see fairly light winds for us here, but we'll talk about another wind event for the weekend, Becca.
Monica, thank you. The fires raging in the LA area have many people asking what impact this could have on California's home insurance market. That's because in recent years, we've seen most of the state's biggest property insurers pause or limit business in the state, citing in part the rising risk of wildfire. Well, I brought that question to experts, and we hear from one woman for whom this is very personal.
There's a resident right up here who is not evacuated.
Around midnight Wednesday, an ABC News crew caught up with a woman spraying down her parents' Altadena home, trying to protect it from the Eaton fire as it burned neighbors' houses.
I know I'm not supposed to be here, but this is my parents' home.
Lynn Levin Guzman, an emergency room nurse, says her 90-year-old parents have lived in this house for decades.
And they've had the same insurance, and these insurance people decided to cancel their fire. And we're going through this, and it just happened, and they have no fire insurance.
Tens of thousands of Californians have found homeowners insurance grow increasingly unaffordable and unavailable in recent years, with companies citing the rising risk of wildfires, the cost of rebuilding, and state regulations.
It's a scary time.
Insurance expert Carl Sussman himself evacuated his home. It's currently okay, he says, but will these fires in Los Angeles make insurance even more unavailable and unaffordable?
Well, this is what the industry's been afraid of, right?
He points out, as ABC 10 has been reporting, the California Department of Insurance rolled out its sustainable insurance strategy by the end of 2024, an overhaul to California's insurance regulations aimed at getting more people covered and giving insurance companies more modern tools to price their products.
Fortunately, now, hopefully, they'll be able to pay these bills, do what they have to do, and then they can move forward with these new guidelines to be able to create products and pricing and discounts that work.
We asked consumer group United policyholders how this fire could affect the cost of insurance.
We are hoping that the marketplace will still get better in the new year, knowing that this is a very large disaster. We're hoping the insurance companies that stayed not only pay out their claims, but continue have built in the rates that will make it sustainable for them to stay and grow.
And we asked a group representing the insurance industry, will companies stay or continue to flee?
The full scope of damage is not yet known, so we are closely monitoring to see what kind of impact the fires may have on the state's insurance marketplace. It's really too early to speculate on this.
As for Lynn, she and her brother in the backyard fought to save their parents' home.
I don't really have a plan. My emotions are my plan.
You're doing whatever you can.
And we don't yet know the fate of Lynn's parents' home. Meanwhile, we asked experts the best time to file a claim. One told us if you're on the FAIR plan, file as soon as possible since they respond in a first-come, first-served basis. And you can always amend your claim as you learn more information later. For private insurers, you can file whenever you're ready, whether that's sooner or later, experts tell us. And our coverage of the Los Angeles fires does not end here. We've been streaming coverage with live reports on the ground and news conferences throughout the day. You can download the ABC 10 Plus app wherever you stream. Well, President-elect Donald Trump took to social media today to blame Governor Newsom for the wildfire destruction. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said in part that Newsom refused to sign a water restoration declaration that would have allowed access to millions of gallons of water. Trump claims Newsom wanted to protect smelt, a type of fish, rather than the people of California. The governor's office responded to the post with a statement saying in part, quote, "There is no such document as the Water Restoration Declaration. That is pure fiction. The governor is focused on protecting people, not playing politics, and making sure firefighters have all the resources they need." In October 2018, Trump signed a presidential memorandum to appropriately suspend, revise, or rescind any regulations or procedures in the Endangered Species Act or National Environmental Policy Act that would, quote, unduly burden water deliveries. State officials pushed back. Then in October 2019, the Trump administration unveiled a plan to govern California's water usage. The debate over water usage and storage has been ongoing for years and is expected to continue in Trump's second term. Trump has threatened to withhold federal aid unless the state complies with his demands. Our Verify team has been looking into other online claims made about these fires. Here's national reporter Casey Decker.
Misinformation often spreads during emergencies, like the California wildfires. So our Verify team has been tracking claims online to fact-check them. First, is it true that Los Angeles recently cut the budget of its fire department? Yes, we can verify that's true. Last year's budget for the city of LA allocated just over $837 million to fire. The current budget allocates just under $820 million. That's $17.5 million fewer dollars, about a 2% cut. Second, Are firefighters running out of water because the city refused to fill up its reservoirs? No, that is false. A local water policy expert told Verify, quote, "At no time during this fire has there been a shortage of water in Southern California. Their reservoirs are full." The issue, according to the water department, isn't a lack of water, it's getting the water where it needs to go. Demand is so high right now that as water travels through the pipes leaving the reservoir, a lot of it gets used up by firefighters who are closer to the source before it can reach crews and tanks that are farther away. The city is working to help those crews by using water trucks. And third, is this video of a man trying to rescue a rabbit from the flames from the LA fires? We can verify this is also false. Using reverse search tools, we found the video is not from the current fires. It was recorded and posted 8 years ago. That fire also took place in Southern California, and the man successfully rescued the rabbit. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Still ahead, our wildfire coverage continues. How local families in our region are helping their loved ones in Los Angeles. Plus, experts weigh in on how climate change is playing a role. Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods joins us. Monica, we've got some calming winds here in our area, but in Southern California, it's a different story.
I know. We've been talking about it. You know, we've been seeing the live pictures, and the red flag warning remains in effect, as well as the high wind warning in Southern California. So here's a look at our weather headlines. We are going to be dealing with warmer than average temperatures and drier weather for quite some time. A little bit of patchy morning fog, but then we're right back to the weekend wind. Here's a look at our weather alerts, and you can see they're most notable in Southern California with that red flag warning continuing through Friday afternoon. We've got gusts that are potentially up to 50 to 75 miles per hour, critical fire weather, and more power outages as we head into the next 24 to 48 hours. Highs for today locally on the warm side, 60s to near 70 for the valley and towards the coast, 50s for the foothills, and 40s up top for the Sierra. Here's how things unfold for the next couple of days. We see some calming winds, but a very small window of the calming winds for Southern California before they come back on Saturday. We'll still be dealing with that ridge of high pressure over the west, and then another low is starting to move its way just off to the east of us. So we're going to be right in between that pressure gradient once again. The key factor here, it does not look like it's going to be anywhere close to what we saw over the past 24 hours. But winds will start to pick up as we head into our Saturday. As you can see, gusts will be close to about 20 to 30 miles per hour once again in the valley. Highs for tomorrow in the 40s for the Sierra, with 60s, even some lows 70s throughout parts of the foothills and upper valley locations, 60s and 70s as well along the coast. So in the wake of those northwest winds, we're still left with a very warm weather environment and dry air. That's going to allow those lows to bottom out in the teens and 20s for the Sierra. We'll see 20s, 30s and 40s throughout the foothills. And for the coast, we'll be dealing with morning lows in the 40s, highs in the 60s. Our valley lows will be dropping back into the 30s, but highs warm nicely with mostly sunny skies. We'll stay in the 60s through Saturday. Again, we'll be tracking the development of those winds over the weekend. But right now, it does look like it's going to be much lower threshold for that critical fire weather. Heading into next week, highs in the 50s, still dry though for the next 10 days.
Looks good, Monica. Thank you so much. Well, next on To the Point, our wildfire coverage continues. Families of those living in Southern California react to the devastating images of the fire. Plus, climate experts weigh in on how climate change is playing a role. Welcome back. This is another live look tonight at the Sunset Fire. It's the latest to ignite. It's burning just north of Hollywood Boulevard in the Hollywood Hills area. Some know this area as Runyon Canyon. Mandatory evacuations are underway in this area. We are more than 300 miles away from the flames, but for many of us, connections to Southern California run deep. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras spoke with families impacted by the fires tonight.
We are all impacted in some way, seeing those shocking and apocalyptic images of neighborhoods being destroyed. But for some families in our area, those impacts and the ongoing concern hit way too close to home.
I think that might be my grandma's neighborhood.
Celine Lopez's eyes have been glued to her phone in Stockton the past 24 hours, and her thoughts,
You know, that instinct to worry is when it's someone you know, right?
with her family in the nightmarish path of the Eaton Fire's flames.
For my uncle who lives in Altadena, he had to evacuate since around 6:30 yesterday. and it was right up, I think, like against his home.
And this is what's left of that home right next to his. Parts of the neighborhood where Celine and her family had just rang the new year in last week, now reduced to ashes as more family members get ready to evacuate.
Just in a few days for all of that to be so different, and to like really pray for our family's safety. You know, that's so scary.
Meanwhile, for Lodi native Andres Rufino,
it's honestly pretty sad.
About 7 miles is all that separates him from the absolute destruction. But a few miles in these conditions offers few comforts.
And it's honestly scary because like 7 miles is pretty close in terms of that, especially if it's spreading that fast.
When Andres moved from San Joaquin County to Southern California 2 years ago, he never thought he'd see anything like this.
A bunch of houses are being burnt down. People are leaving their cars on the road. This morning, there's a bunch of ash on top of cars.
A nightmare now realized in Southern California, sending waves of concern all across the state.
And who knows how long it'll take to recover.
I hope this is contained, and I hope that we're not going to be looking at such more tragedy in the next coming days.
In Stockton, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
As wildfires continue to burn, climate experts are highlighting the role climate change may be playing. Reporter Luz Pena spoke to experts about the connection they've detected and what can be done to minimize risks.
Climate experts say images like these serve as evidence of multiple factors fueling these extreme events. One of them is warming temperatures.
What we have clear evidence of is that climate change is contributing to warming not only globally but in California, in the Southern California region.
The Santa Ana winds are driving these wildfires to spread even faster, making it harder for firefighters to gain control.
It's a different sort of wind event than what happens in a hurricane or what happens in a severe thunderstorm. There has been research on the Santa Ana winds. For an event that is as extreme as this one, that really falls in the tail of the distribution, there's always going to be a large contribution of natural variability. And the scientific question that comes up is, are the odds of that different with and without global warming?
This is also an amplification of natural patterns that exist. Like, for example, this year, there's been quite a bit of rain in Northern California and not so much in Southern California. That's a seesaw pattern.
The latest rain in Northern California helped for now.
The autumn season in California is warming even faster than the rest of the year. We know that when there's a delayed onset in precipitation, that really elevates the risk of wildfire.
It concerns me that even with the 1 or 1.5 degree of average warming that we've seen so far, that we see a lot of more of these natural hazards and risks and disasters taking place, from hurricanes to large wildfires.
Next on To the Point, stories of survival. Those evacuating in Los Angeles share their first-hand accounts. Tonight, as crews try controlling the flames in Los Angeles, every burning home and building is connected to a human life that will be forever changed. Jacqueline Lee shares their stories of survival.
Fire crews desperately trying to get a handle on the deadly wildfires in Los Angeles, as we're seeing firsthand the people impacted. Some trying to save their homes, others helpless, left with nothing to do other than watch it burn to the ground.
Furniture that we've, built a lifetime upon, photos, just everything.
Thousands of people across Los Angeles County evacuated. Some people driving just feet from the flames as they left their neighborhoods, not knowing what will be there when they return. This rabbi worried about members who did not evacuate.
I don't even want to think of what, God forbid, might be.
There's no one in Los Angeles who is not touched by this. I mean, there are areas that are under evacuation orders, areas under evacuation warnings, and bordering neighborhoods.
With the weather forecast that we saw, we knew that this was going to be a bad fire.
Nick McCormack was on the way to his mother's home in Pacific Palisades.
The fire popped up so quickly that it was almost an impossible situation to evacuate everyone right away.
Zibby and Kyle Owens live in New York and have a home and business in Pacific Palisades, unsure if there will be anything to return to.
It's absolutely surreal. I mean, watching that footage is devastating to us. It's something that we've always been aware of, living there, that could happen. But I think we're seeing this is the worst case scenario.
Actor Steve Guttenberg saying within an hour, the sky turned black with fire raging.
They started with these little circles of red, like little devils. Before you knew it, the wind, which is the strongest wind you've ever seen, I mean, it's 80 miles an hour, and it's a hot wind, and it started just spreading all these little pockets of burning embers.
Officials urging people to follow the evacuation orders. The LA County Sheriff saying there is nothing worth your life. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Pacific Palisades.
Well, thank you so much for watching us and inviting us into your home. If you have something you think we should be looking into, please send the team an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. To the Point doesn't end here. To watch stories featured on the show, download our free ABC 10 Plus app wherever you stream. Have a great and safe night.
Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To The Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To The Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention Bay Sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. What's super exciting, I know you care about high school sports. You'll never find a more comprehensive guide and team dedicated to high school sports. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To The Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.